Welcome to Answering Short Answer Questions 101. Today we're going to review again how to use the RACE strategy to get a perfect score when answering short answer questions. Remember, RACE stands for restate the question, answer the question, cite evidence from the text, and elaborate. We're going to begin with restating the question. We'll use the nursery rhyme of Jack and Jill as our example text for this part. Our first question is, why did Jack and Jill go up the hill? Easy one, right? To fetch a pail of water. Duh. But this response does not restate the question. In this second response, we've added our restatement. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. You can see here where we've underlined the restatement of the question and the answer. Jack and Jill go up the hill, Jack and Jill went up the hill, and it gives us a clear answer. Here's the second question. What happened to Jill after Jack fell down? Jill came tumbling after, right? No, we didn't restate the question. Imagine in your mind what you would have to add to this response in order to restate the question. In this new response, you can see that just about all of the question is restated in the answer. After Jack fell down, what happened is that Jill came tumbling after. Next, we're going to review answering the question. This is actually the part that most people do get right. People lose points in this area if they don't answer the question correctly. It's important that no matter what you think, that you always look back in the text to make sure that the answer you're giving is the correct answer. For this example, we'll use the nursery rhyme, Humpty Dumpty. Our first question is, why did the king's men have to put Humpty back together? This is an easy one, right? Here's my answer. The king's men had to put Humpty back together because he was torn apart by forest ogres. Right? No, that's not right. Okay, this time I looked back in the nursery rhyme. The king's men had to put Humpty back together because he sat on a wall. Is that why he had fallen apart? I'm certain this time I got it right. The king's men had to put Humpty back together because he fell off a wall. Okay, so make sure when you go back to the text that the evidence that you're pulling is what's going to help answer and prove your question correct. Did I restate my question in the response? Phew, I did. The king's men have to put Humpty back together is the part of the question that I need to and I did restate in the answer. All right, let's move on to citing evidence. You may already know that many of the nursery rhymes from England were examples of allegory. They were maybe sung to children generations later, but originally were little rhyming stories to get back at the royalty of the time period or the richer, wealthier nobles. In this particular nursery rhyme, they're doing just that. The 3 bags that our shepherd has, one is for the master. This is believed to be the bags that the shepherds had to give to the king. One is for the maid, so this might be for a noble that they live under that they also are having to give away. You may have heard in the nursery rhyme before the little boy who lives down the lane, but it's believed that the original nursery rhyme was the little boy who cries down the lane. suggesting that the poor child who lives down the lane is crying because he's only left with one bag. This is the only bag of all the wool that the shepherd would have found that he can sell, and therefore it's his little boy who may be crying because his parents are not making enough money to feed him. Since we have this more challenging, difficult nursery rhyme, something with a little something beneath it, we're going to try using some more challenging questions as we practice citing evidence. Here's our first question. Why would the little boy down the lane cry? We know the answer, and we're going to try to use evidence from the text to help us support our answer. Let's not also forget to restate the question. All right, here I've restated the question. The little boy down the lane cries because... If you can remember what I explained about the nursery rhyme, you'll see here now we have a correct answer. The little boy down the lane cries because he is most likely hungry due to poverty. Now, what part of the nursery rhyme is going to provide textual evidence to back that up? We need to support what we say. This part of the text that I underlined is going to be our best detail to support our answer. I've added some textual evidence. Of the 3 bags the shepherd has, 2 are given away, 1 to the master and 1 to the maid. Elaborating is possibly the most difficult part of the race strategy. Often, after you've restated the question, answered the question, and included evidence from the text to support it, you remain with the question, well, what can I elaborate on? What else is there to say? There are a couple of things that you can use or strategies you can use in order to add further detail that allows you to elaborate on your answer. Here are 5 strategies for elaborating. I'm going to give you an example first for number 1 and number 4. I'm going to make a connection between the answer and textual evidence, and at the same time describe or define part of my answer in more detail. Here's my response from the page before about the little boy down the lane. I'm going to elaborate on this answer. Here you can see where I've added my elaboration. Historically in England, shepherds were forced to give away 2/3 of their wool, leaving them with a small amount to sell for profit. As a result, they were often poor and hungry. I've made a connection between my answer at the beginning about the little boy crying because he's most likely hungry, and I've also described the historical background of my answer as well. I have modified the Humpty Dumpty response to include elaboration as well. In this elaboration, I make a connection. I also answer the question, so what? And have also described a part of my answer in more detail. I had to change the original answer so that it included textual evidence. So I have, the king's men had to put Humpty back together because he fell off a wall, seen where it says he had a great fall. The original Humpty Dumpty was a cannon in a protective city wall that fell because it was so heavy, and they could not repair it, leaving the town unprotected. Here's a last example using our Jack and Jill example. I've added some elaboration at the end that partially defines, mostly defines, and you could also say maybe provides reasons for why my answer is correct. After Jack fell down, what happened is that Jill came tumbling after. In the case of this nursery rhyme, the word tumbling means to fall. There are going to be many more opportunities for you to put this race strategy to the test. You'll be taking some more quizzes in class, and you can use this strategy to answer short answer questions. As the year progresses, you'll see how using this strategy will actually help you develop some of your paragraphs. That's why we use the strategy, not so much to have complete multiple sentenced answers to short answer questions, but to help you see how using those questions and your answers to them can help you develop your writing. If you have more questions, please come let me know. If not, I think you're ready to move on and start putting this to the test a little bit more.